What is going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com. Welcome to the Reverse Diet Update vlog series for the week of 16. Week 16. Kind of crazy. All right, let's dive into it here. So I woke up on this Monday, the 4th, at 179.4. And as I said in the last video, I wanted to take this week and just eat pretty much something different every single day to kind of mirror what most people are likely going to be doing during a typical building phase once they get through the reverse. I'm still categorically calling this reverse because I haven't fully decided what numbers I want to be at for my building phase. I'm kind of figuring out my sweet spot, letting my body reset at its homeostatic set point, so to speak. But to just round things out, I'm at 179.4, and that is up a little bit from the week prior. Due to, last week I was pretty much averaging 175 across the board. So this week I've been averaging 178.9. So because I'm having more food variety, my sodium intake has fluctuated significantly more as a result of that, and that has resulted in some increased fluid retention. So I'm going to have more volatile weight during weeks where I'm not eating the exact same thing and tracking my sodium as accurately. That's just going to be the nature of the beast. But in knowing that, I can be at peace with it because most people in traditional settings, once they're out of their prep phase, once they're out of the reverse phase, they're going to want some more food variety. So I want to kind of mimic that for y'all so you can see what the impact is going to be. So more volatility in weight as a result of more volatility in electrolyte balance. So like I said, started the week at 179.4. Then Tuesday I was 178.4, 176.5, 179.2, 179.6. On Saturday, I hit 180.5. So the first time I've hit 180 since the prep started, which is kind of crazy. And then Sunday, I was 178.7. So an average weight of the week being 178.9. Now, when you go over here to the macros, a little bit more volatility there as well. It was 365. I was targeting about 350 fat, 250 protein, roughly. But I had 365 fat, 273. Had a couple high days here. So I had 5,700 calories on Tuesday, then 4,100, 4,200, 5,300 on Friday. We had a cookout for our crew. We had a team day. So we helped Chip move, and then we had a big cookout afterwards, ate a bunch of bratwurst and all that good stuff. So 4,300 on Saturday and 4,900 on Sunday. So those are pretty high calorie days all in all. The higher days and just kind of caused an average intake of 4,761 calories if you were to average that out over the course of the week, which wound up being about a 70.2% fat ratio. So 70% of my calories coming from dietary fat once averaged out. And for me, I like to stay between about 70 and 75%. I'm consuming enough total calories that I can operate at that higher fat ratio while still consuming a significant intake of protein. Like as you can see here, on Tuesday I had 420 grams of protein. I don't feel as good with that much protein. But generally speaking, I'm, no less than 250 grams of protein and as high as, 300, 340, 380. So pretty significant protein intake and still maintaining that higher fat ratio. So I feel really good at that 70 to 75% ratio. But again, my weight is up, and as I had said prior, I kind of really like the way I look at 175. So I'm taking in enough food right now, averaging 4,700 calories, obviously, to certainly be building more lean tissue. I'm going to put on a little bit more body fat if I'm more aggressive with those calories, obviously. I can be more aggressive. I can put down a lot of food, as y'all can probably tell. So I can eat, 5,000 calories plus and not really feel overly satiated at that intake. 4,000 calories and I'm still a bit hungry. If I wanted to maintain my weight closer to that 175 mark, I'd probably want to keep things closer to 4,000 calories. If I want to be a little bit closer to that 180 mark, then I can bump it up and kind of get closer to that 5,000 calorie intake. So there's no need for me to go beyond 5,000 calories as an average. So I'm probably going to operate, when it's all said and done, somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000. I may have some higher days, I may have some lower days, but having those volatile days makes this a little bit more sustainable for the long haul, because I'm going to be in a building phase for the next several years before I lean down for another competition. And even with me being at a higher weight right now, hitting 180.5 on Saturday, I still like the way I look. Like, I'm definitely putting on some thickness. I've got some more body fat. I'm holding on to more fluid retention as a result of the fluctuation in electrolytes, but I'm still at peace with the way I look. I like the way I look more at 170 to 175, but I really like the way I'm feeling and performing now. I mean, I just trained this morning, and I'm hitting the same volume metrics that I was prior to dropping calories in the prep. So I am back up on par with the total weight lifted and the total reps for that weight as what I was going into the prep. So my performance has really skyrocketed here lately, in large part due to these higher calories and simply not being depleted anymore. So I feel really good about that. Also, let's talk about macro tracking. So I had mentioned that I was going to probably switch over to Chronometer instead of My Macros Plus, and I have done that officially as of this week. I was tracking both, using both apps to see how closely they correlated, and they were very close, but Chronometer has a much more extensive electrolyte and micronutrient profile dashboard, and it also, I feel, is more accurate with random one-off ingredients and food items. I would have a hard time finding accurate data on some food items with My Macros Plus, whereas the database in Chronometer is much more extensive. And since I'm including more variety in my diet now and eating things differently day to day, I want to have those more accurate numbers. Like, if I'm just eating 85-15 ground beef every single day with eggs and a brick, then I can use that with any macro tracker, and the data is not going to change that much. But here is Chronometer's dashboard. I also really like that it syncs with all of my wearables. So I've got my Aura ring in here. I've got my Withings scale in here. I've got my Dexcom CGM in here. And all of this syncs to Chronometer. So I can see that in this biostats dashboard right in the very beginning, which is pretty cool. So here is Monday the 4th. There are my biostats. I've got, let's just go through some of the food variety I had this week. So I had the Bell's Brownie Batter Brick. I had a carnivore bar. My meal 2 consisted of Crystal made like these taco bowls. So that's basically what was the fixings for a taco bowl. And then if you scroll down here, you can see the breakdown for the macronutrients, total energy consumed. It's got the nutrition scores, which is pretty cool. You got your sodium. You can set these goal markers to whatever you like, which is nice. I did not log my water in here. I drank much more than that in water. But it's also got all this vitamins and mineral breakdown. So you can see the sodium here, 9,199.3 milligrams. So there is a little bit more sodium this week because of the food variety that I had. I don't have quite as much control over that. It's got a breakdown for all the different amino acids, which is also pretty cool. And it's got these little score charts here. So I do like the robustness of the micronutrient breakdown, the mineral breakdown, the lipid breakdown even within Chronometer over any of the macro trackers I've used thus far. So Monday was taco bowls. Let's just kind of go through the week here. Tuesday was, what did I have Tuesday? Tuesday I had some duck legs and a bunch of coconut peanut butter and a cauliflower crust pizza crust that somebody had sent me to try. Wednesday was carnivore bars, keto brick, and then a bunch of lamb and some chicken drumsticks and some breakfast sausage. The 7th was carnivore bar, keto brick, and then I actually had a salad on the 7th. So that was the first time I'd had a salad in a year. And honestly, I didn't really experience much bloat from the salad, but it was more vegetation than I typically have and felt fine, but I could go another year without a salad and not lose any sleep over. Like, I certainly don't crave salads, but that was the first salad I'd had in a year, so it was kind of interesting to see how my body would respond. And I had some of these pre-prepped meals by Just Meats, which are actually very clean ingredients and super tasty as well. So I had that on the 7th. Friday the 8th was drumsticks, keto bricks, and that's when we had that cookout, so I had quite a few bratwursts and some sirloin shish kebabs. Saturday was, let's see here, a big old steak. Philip from Carnivore Bar came over and I cooked him a big old porterhouse steak. So I had a 25-ounce steak. So that was delicious. And then Sunday, was basically breakfast for dinner. So I had brick in the morning, and then I had some pork sausage, some eggs, a dozen eggs, and some locally procured pork bacon with some egg life wraps and another keto brick, the white chocolate peppermint keto brick. So that was my breakdown meal-wise for the week. This is what Chronometer looks like if you are interested in switching to that macro tracking device. But I'm liking it so far. And all in all, I'm not too messed up about the volatility in weight with the increased food variety. Like my weight's still holding relatively steady, and I'm eating, quite a bit of food. Real quick, let's do some pictures. So these pictures were taken on the 4th at a weight of 179. Obviously, I've got a lot more fluid retention and looking a little thicker, but I still have the, separation there in the legs. So I want to continue to see that. I don't want to lose that at any point in this reverse. A lot more fullness in my arms, in my shoulder caps, in my chest. I just have a lot more fullness. Like I fill out a large t-shirt now, whereas when I was 151 pounds at the depth of a prep, a medium shirt was a little bit baggy on me. Whereas now, large is filled out pretty good. Still have the striations on the shoulder caps, though, with the side poses. So I'm happy to see that. Lat spread there. Still have quite a bit of separation in the hamstring. So holding on to that quite nicely. Back double bicep. Just a lot more thickness. I mean, it's just thicker all over. And a lot of it's going to be in the midsection because that's where you're typically going to gain weights first and lose last. Midsection, lower back, and butt. That holds true for most people, but I've got my body's pretty good at distributing that increased weight and body fat pretty evenly throughout my entire body. So it doesn't seem to accumulate in any one spot overly comparative to other spots. A lot more thickness and fullness in my legs. I got that hamstring sweep rocking. There's my signature pose. Still have the abs though. Like I will not lose my abs at any point during this building phase as I transition into a building phase. But this is pretty much what I find my body to kind of gravitate to conditioning wise while at a caloric, surplus like I am currently. So feeling pretty good with it. I can totally live with this physique, this composition. Definitely not as lean as I was in the prep, but as we all know, you can't maintain 3.9% body fat indefinitely. That's not healthy hormonally or metabolically. So feel really good with how I'm looking right now. Feel great with how I'm feeling and performing overall. I do not feel depleted anymore. My body's responding well to the increased food variety, and I'm just loving every second of it. I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to keep pushing the needle with the weights in the gym from a performance standpoint so I can maximize adding as much lean tissue as possible. I did do a Inbody scan on the 4th, and that clocked me at 9% body fat. And then I did a higher grade professional Inbody scan on Friday, and that had me at 7.2% body fat. I'm not 7.2% body fat. I think the 9 is actually probably more accurate. So I would guess that I'm probably between 9 and 10% body fat right now, which is pretty good. I feel pretty good at that. I don't feel like that would hinder me any from a muscle building standpoint. So I'm going to get some updated lab work here soon. We'll see what the blood work's looking like, and I'll keep y'all posted. But that is a wrap on week 16. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time.